how many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into 14 Personnel YouTube. Today we are talking trade targets, week 3. I'm your host, Justin Wright, joined by 1/4 of 14 Personnel, Marco Enriquez. What's going on, Marco?
Yeah, I mean, the spiciest fourth, of course.
The Latin flair, and the Enriquez gives it away.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So this week we're talking trade targets. Obviously, we're looking at guys that may be undervalued. They might be, valued perfectly, and they're still worth trading for. It's not necessarily all buy low, sell high when you're looking at trade targets.
Right.
So me and Marco put together a list. We got 5 guys to run through. Let's just dive in. We'll just get right into it. Right off the bat.
Antonio Gibson.
Well, yeah. The logo placement by me is not great. Their logo also makes this graphic very difficult.
Yeah, that's on them.
Yeah, it's their fault. They didn't consider us. Antonio Gibson, though, right now, he's averaging only 9.5 points a game, but I am not concerned really at all. He needs touchdowns to perform. We know that. That's not news. That's not shocking. He hasn't received them yet, and he's on an insane touch pace. Like, what's the exact pace he has, Marco, over 16 games?
Yeah, so, I mean, Antonio Gibson, he's on a 320 touch pace, and we talked about this like ad nauseum in the offseason. Any running back who sees 300-plus touches, they're almost guaranteed to land as an RB1. And
right.
So I don't see any situation where he doesn't really hit that threshold. The week 2 J.D. McKissic kind of burst onto the scene. That's not something that we should really be surprised about. We knew J.D. McKissic was going to be around. It's just that we don't think it's going to happen as much as it did last year. So if you were in on Antonio Gibson in the offseason, that shouldn't have changed with last week.
Yep, exactly. Like, there's no concern. These things are going to happen. And the reason he's a trade target is coming off of a primetime game where J.D. McKissic saw a ton of pass work. Yep. Marco was publicly crying on Twitter. This is a good time to go and target Antonio Gibson because the owners may be down. It's one thing if your player, has a 10-point game in the noon slate, you didn't watch it. When you watch it in prime time, people freak out a whole lot more. He's a good guy to go and target. So, Marco, I'm going to throw out 3 wide receiver names here.
All right.
Which of these guys would you give up for Antonio Gibson? Which would you not?
Okay.
Mike Evans.
Yes, I would give up Mike Evans.
Terry McLaurin.
Oof, that's tough, but I would say I would probably do it just because of the running back factor, that he's a running back.
Okay, I'm keeping Terry personally. I think that's a little spicy for me.
Yeah, he's like probably the top of my line there, but.
Yep, so I'm just going through, and then I got one more name here if this would load. We'll throw out Adam Thielen, who is currently the wide receiver 4 on the season.
Yeah, I would do that instantly. I don't think this is going to keep up. I know we said in the offseason he's not going to keep scoring touchdowns. He has in the first 2 weeks.
He has 3 so far.
Exactly. He has so far. That's not going to keep up all season. Yeah. I'm not worried about it. He'll be fine in PPR feeling, but these touchdowns won't keep happening for him. So I would rather have the upside running back. So,
yep. All right, moving on then. We'll move on to Jonathan Taylor, another high-profile running back that just hasn't performed.
Right.
Why is he a target for you, though, Marco? I mean, the schedule is obviously nice with Tennessee. Miami is whatever. Baltimore, I think they can be had on the ground with a good rushing offense.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the schedule is not a huge factor, but it plays in. Why else are you still in on Jonathan Taylor?
I think for me, when I look at these guys, if you've drafted them in the first round, the first 2 weeks shouldn't change anything. So if someone's panicking in your league and it's like, oh, Jonathan Taylor's not going to be in that RB1 conversation, he's going to be. He's got one of the best O-lines in the league still. Go trade for him. You're not going to be upset.
Exactly. Again, you want to talk about touch pace. He's also on pace for 320 opportunities.
He saw 7 targets in week 1. That's insane.
That's all you need to know. He's currently has the highest expected total touchdown rate, mark, whatever you want to call it, with 3.3 touchdowns expected. He has 0. So that's going to fix itself. It's just going to happen. He's hammered inside the 10-yard line.
Unless he has a really weird random season like happened to Nick Chubb a couple years ago, he's going to regress to the mean, and it's going to make a lot of people happy.
Yep. So we'll do name game again here. I'm going to throw out two names.
Okay.
Chris Godwin, Jonathan Taylor.
I would take Jonathan Taylor.
So would I. And then last name here, Keenan Allen or Jonathan Taylor.
Oh man, that one's really tough. I love Jonathan Taylor. I like Jonathan Taylor. I like running backs. I think I'm probably going to stick with Keenan there though.
Okay. I'll take Jonathan Taylor in that one as well. Just throwing out some names for you guys to, at least be targeting. These are the type of players you probably still have to give up even with down weeks for these guys. But again, you don't have to give up Stephon Diggs, who you were taking, Jonathan Taylor over. So that's the thing. The tier may have dropped just slightly, and this is a chance to go and get them.
Right.
First wide receiver on the list here, Robert Woods, averaging 12.2 a game, clearly becoming the 1B in this offense. I'm not worried. I'm really not. Week 1 was a fluke. We know that. There are 2 long drives killed by touchdowns. That's where Robert Woods would have seen targets, just long drives. And then week 2, he comes back with 9 targets, a 30% target share. He's still a focal point in the offense. And, the schedule could not get better. Tampa Bay, Arizona, Seattle. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. People are worried about him, and you really shouldn't be in the sense of sure, he's not seeing Cooper Kupp target share that's in the mid-30s, which is insane, and probably won't keep happening, but he's still seeing 23% target share from Matthew Stafford on a great offense. He's going to regress back to the mean. He's going to be a top 20, top 15 wide receiver. So I'm all in on buying him if you can get him for cheap.
Yep. And then naturally we'll play the name game here.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs or Robert Woods. Disappointments.
Robert Woods.
To me, that's not close. If you have somebody out there that is thinking they're getting Jacobs at a discount for Robert Woods, I think you hammer that one.
Yeah, because even if Jacobs comes back, he's got that turf toe. That's going to linger. It kept Gibson out for a little bit last year. So.
Yep. And then Chris Carson or Robert Woods.
Oh, I'm going to stick with Chris Carson, but that's really close for me.
Yeah, I take Chris Carson. Chris Carson has been fine for fantasy. He hasn't been overly impressive. Just throwing that out there. He was great week 1, didn't find the end zone. Not good against Tennessee, 13 for 31 and 2. So another guy to keep an eye on is maybe someone to, target in your leagues.
Yeah.
Moving on. Number 4 on the list, we got the rookie, Javonte Williams. Only averaging 6.2 a game, or 6.7 a game. Doesn't have an ideal schedule coming up. Why are you still, targeting Javonte in leagues?
Yeah, so for me, it's fairly quick. Him and Melvin Gordon both have 29 touches, so they're split right down the middle on the season. And he's actually in the top 5 in the league with 11 forced missed tackles.
It's unbelievable.
And he only has, like I said, he only has 29 touches. So a third of the time, he's creating yards for himself. With a high upside running back on a team that's going to run the ball, give me him all day.
Yeah, he's an interesting one because I don't know if you can get him for cheap, even though he hasn't performed. Because I feel like everybody that drafted him knew the risk. He's a guy I'm still going to pay up for if I have to go get him.
Right. I don't think his price is too high, and that's why I'm still interested.
Yep. So then we'll play the name game here. Jamar Chase, Javonte Williams.
That's actually a good one to start with. I'm going to go Javonte Williams.
I lean Javonte too because don't get me wrong, I love Jamar Chase. I think the top 24 wide receiver. I think Javonte, if he continues to push for more work, can be a top 15 running back, and I'd rather have that on my team.
Totally.
And last one here. I'm just scrolling. This is Cortland Sutton, his teammate, or Javonte Williams. Cortland Sutton without Jerry Jeudy for a couple more weeks.
Yes. Oh, man. I think I want Cortland Sutton without Jerry Jeudy, but knowing that Jerry Jeudy is going to be coming back at some point this season, that's why I would buy Javonte for Cortland Sutton.
Yep, so I do too. I think Cortland Sutton's going to be great. He was featured on last week's Studs and Duds video, and he's going to be very good this year.
Yeah, until Jeudy comes back, he's going to be outperforming Javonte Williams, or he should, Yeah. But when he does come back, it's going to equalize a little bit. Yeah.
Also, I jumped the gun. Last one here. This is kind of my personal pick. Marvin Jones Jr. He's also on this week's Studs and Duds.
Yep.
So is Robert Woods. Go check out that video for what we expect during week 3. But the reason I am targeting Marvin Jones here, and it's been what I have said all offseason, I think, he does everything DJ Chark does better than DJ Chark. He's the wide receiver one. He's seeing, through 2 weeks only, but still 10 targets a game, averaging 18.1 a week. I mean, and the schedule, and I hate trading for schedule in week 3, but Arizona, Cincinnati, Tennessee.
It's nice.
Marvin Jones could be averaging 18 points a game at the end of this 3-game stretch. And, if you have that over the course of 5 weeks, you found yourself a high-end wide receiver 2. He's the clear wide receiver 1 in this offense.
Yeah, and I agree. I think right now he is definitely the wide receiver 1 on the team. I'm curious to see how long it lasts throughout this season, but right now you can probably get him and he could provide for the next 3-4 weeks. Really, really nice upside. This
is like what he does over his career. He just goes nuclear for stretches, and it's amazing. And he's just in that stretch right now.
And the early season results, I'll admit, I was wrong on him. I thought he was going to be a part of the offense, but not the guy in the red zone as much as he has been.
Absolutely. So we'll throw out some names here. Damian Harris or Marvin Jones?
Oh man, I'm gonna be okay with Marvin Jones for Damian Harris, and you might even be able to get a little bit more just because of the offseason hype and what Damian Harris has been. He's been okay, so you might be able to get a little bit more than Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones feels like a guy that people are willing to sell high on, and I will buy him at whatever that elevated price is because it's still not worth, I think, what he actually is worth. So I'll take Marvin Jones.
I think Damian Harris's value is going to go down more than Marvin Jones as well, and people are trying to play hot potato with him a little bit.
Yep. Chase Edmonds, Marvin Jones, last one here.
Marvin Jones. I'm so far out on Chase Edmonds, it's not funny. So
Chase Edmonds and Damian Harris are the exact same player with completely different play styles as far as like fantasy points go.
Yes.
Like they're both good for 10 to 14 a week, and they get there in completely different ways.
Yeah. Chase Edmonds, you're like, how is that even possible? And you have to check the math.
Every single 6 catches, 30 yards, 2 carries. Amazing.
Yeah.
Every damn time. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us here. As always, follow me over on Twitter at Justin_14P. You can follow Marco at Marco_14P. Subscribe to the YouTube. Drop trade questions if you have them. Hit the bell, notifications, yada, 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 YouTube things. Do that. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.